Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So today I am on live again. It's Saturday, trying so hard to show up. So I hope that you also show up for me, for the community, for the channel, and for the purpose of learning and empowering yourself with useful information and education regarding women's health, pregnancy, fertility, postpartum, childbirth, and everything that surrounds that. All right, so I'm gonna wait for a little bit to see if anybody joins, or I'm gonna wait a little bit until people start to join, and I'll start to do what I'm supposed to do today. Last week I was here reading a book. We were reading Birth Without Fear, and we read the introduction a little bit. We read chapter 1, very, very important information about going into pregnancy and birth without fear. And I also expanded on the explanation about letting go, because it's very important when you get pregnant. It's very, very important that you know that letting go is one of the tools that you can have, that you can harness, okay, for your pregnancy, for the success of pregnancy, the success of the kind of birth you want to have, and the postpartum period as well, okay? Bringing home a baby is not easy when you finally have the baby, and letting go and allowing in Allah. Someone says letting go and letting God, right? So it's very, very important. So I'm going to wait for a little bit until I see people join, all right? And I will start reading chapter 2. So I'm going to read chapter 2 today. This is chapter 2. Actually, this is chapter 2. I'm going to read that today. And up until the chapters that we're going to be pausing on maybe chapter 3, or going to pass on to chapter 4. All right. So this is going to be a recurring theme until we finish this book. And then we're going to pick up another book. I love this book so much, but I also love this book. This is such an awesome book. This is Postpartum Depletion Cure. So when we start thinking about pregnancy and everything, we think all of it. Yeah. Letting go and letting God. Very, very important. We start thinking about everything else that is pregnancy related. However, we forget to think about that postpartum period. That postpartum period where it gets very, very real, very critical, very messy, because now it's not all about you and your spouse again. It's about you and your spouse and the baby. Right. So I'm waiting for a little bit until I see people join. Okay. So we're going to read this book today, inshallah. And we are on chapter 2, All right, so chapter 2 is advocating for yourself, second trimester without fear. Last week we were reading a whole bunch about first trimester, about nausea, about the issue of miscarriage, very, very sensitive topic. Yeah, and then also how to navigate advocating for yourself and finding the right provider for your pregnancy and for your baby. And today we're also going to speak about the second trimester, advocating for yourself and for the baby. All right, so let me go ahead and start reading. I see a couple of people on here. I'm going to start reading. I will read some part without explanation. All right. So second, advocating for yourself, second trimester without fear. Or actually, let me wait for a little bit. Let me wait maybe a little bit. Please let me know if you can hear me. I see a couple of people join right now. Let me know if you can hear me. If you can, please click on the like button, the emoji like button, and let me know if you can hear me, because I have encountered some some issue with the mic before. All right. Oh, thank you for joining us. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So the book reading started last week. I decided to focus on the Saturday, every Saturday and Sunday, to come on and read a book related to pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum. So we've started with this book because one of my best books that I recommend to a lot of my clients, a lot of the mothers that I work with. And it's very, very, very important. The reason why I started this book is because of the concept of tawakkul in Islam. Okay, so and a lot of the times we as Muslims get into things without really without an all-encompassing intention. Okay, so renewing our intention is very important, even with pregnancy, because I feel like pregnancy is a spiritual event, even though sometimes we feel like it's physical event. But there is more spirituality. There's more spiritual aspect of pregnancy, fertility, birth, and postpartum, more than the physical part. The physical part we have in control of eating right, taking care of ourselves, doing all of the other things that we need to do, and letting go of the rest. The rest is for Allah to take care of. Ours is not to make sure that baby has a head, baby has a brain, baby has a hand, baby has a chest, whatever. It's Allah's job. That's not ours, right? Ours is to just take care of ourselves and tie our camel. That's it. So a lot of the times mothers or mothers-to-be don't get the time to read. So when I recommend books, women will be like, I want to read, but I have not been able to read, especially it's hard. In the first trimester, it's hard, and in the last trimester too, it's hard. So yeah, so that's why I have decided to not come on live and share recipes. That I will do that in videos, okay? I would plan and do all of those things, and then just come on and read a book. Even if you are not able to pick up a book and read, at least this live is going to be something that can introduce you to a book that is very important to you, maybe some information or concept that can be useful. So every Saturday and Sundays is here and there, but I'll try as much as possible to make Sunday a possibility. Also, I usually come on at 10 or 11. Today I came in a little late, all right? So just to see what time really best works or works best. Right, right. So it's hard. Sometimes you want to read a whole bunch. You are very pumped, and the first trimester just hit you like this, and you can't even read, you can't even think about eating, let alone picking up a book. So it's kind of like the lazy way of empowering yourself as well. So you come on and I read, you get introduced to certain topics, certain things that maybe you've never heard before. You're going to be able to at least, oh, this thing, oh, I have to pay attention to this. Oh, okay. So that's the reason why I have started to like really just come on and read a book, maybe 2 or 3 chapters for one session. So I'm going to be reading until this book is done. And then I'll pick up the next book will be this one. This is Postpartum Depletion Cure. I'm reading this because I had a question about postpartum yesterday with my patient in the hospital. And it's, yeah, I feel like it's one of the, I had wanted to go from birth and then cross over to postpartum, but I think I can just pick and choose most important stuff. And this is mostly about postpartum, so I'm going to read that book next. I love that book. Just in case you are in your 3rd trimester, you can pick that book up. It's very, very affordable. I will link my Amazon storefront down in the description box below. If you're interested, you can pick up one. This one is paperback. It's not hardcover, and I got it for like $10. Okay, it's on sale for $10 on Amazon. The paperback is kind of expensive, and this one too as well. It's not very, very expensive. So you can pick it up if you want to. If not, come on live and let's read together, inshallah. All right. Yeah. So let me move on. I'm trying to see if I can put a thumbnail, but it looks like I'm kind of lost here. Technology, it's not the best for me. Okay. All right, so I'll move on and start reading. Okay. Okay, so let's start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All right, so chapter 2 is advocating for yourself. Advocating for yourself, 2nd trimester without fear. Okay, I know I'm using the front camera, so it's gonna come, what you see would be upside down or not very clear. You can read it, but yeah. And I wish that I can figure it out to get a double camera, so the camera will be facing the book and then me reading, but I don't know how to do it. If somebody knows how to do it, please let me know, and I can do that. I would love to do that. Yeah. All right. So chapter 2, advocating for yourself, second trimester without fear. I'm going to read without explanation, and then after a little bit, I would start to explain the most important things that I know that come up a lot of the times in my session with clients and with my patients. So that's what I'm gonna do. If you have a question, please let me know in the comment section or in the description box below. If I have an answer to it, I will answer. If I don't, it's okay. I'm not here to show perfection. There are so many things that I don't know. All right. So, and then also maybe that will create research for me to go on to research on those topics and make videos around that. All right. So, chapter 2, advocating for yourself, second trimester without fear. My beautiful friend, you deserve to be loved and supported at your best, at your worst, and in between. You are powerful. You have a voice, intelligence, and an innate wisdom that is invaluable to your birth journey. You are not a statistics or a number on a scale. You are not responsible for anyone else's baggage or fear. You, your baby, and your pregnancy are unique. You deserve unique, evidence-based care. So last week, I was here and I was talking about the fact that every pregnancy is unique. Every event that you go through, having a baby and being pregnant, having a baby, your childbirth process and everything is unique. And I mentioned very important thing about bringing a soul. Allah creating a soul in your body, and your body houses the soul for 9 to 10 months before the soul comes into life in dunya. Already for 9 to 10 months, it's in dunya, but literally not in dunya, right? That is something to think about. That is a big thing to think about. So even if you've been pregnant one time or 100 times, yesterday when I was speaking to one of my patients, I was like, even if you are a first-time mom or 100-time mom, and she busted into laughter. I'm like, wow, 100 times mom, that's exaggeration. But yeah, even if you are a veteran mom, every pregnancy is different. Every childbirth is going to be different. Every postpartum is going to be different. Why? Because every soul is different. There's no one soul that is the same. As a twin mom, myself, I know that for the fact. Even the pregnancy of twins, being pregnant with twins, these twins have their own personality, their own characteristics, their own way in the womb before they come out. SubhanAllah. I am realizing that after the fact. But when I was pregnant, I was like, but then now that I gave birth to these kids, I'm like, yeah, oh, okay. Baby A, baby B are quite different. Even when they were in my womb. And when I gave birth to them too, the same thing. So they are different because it's different soul. And Allah will not create the same soul. Allah creates everybody to be different because we have a purpose. We are coming in to this life with a purpose, right? Okay. So putting that in mind is very, very important. You are the one who will be living, processing, and healing from your birth experience. The best advocate for you is you. Listening to your intuition, working through your fears and anxieties, and surrounding yourself with people you trust. I encourage you to think of the second trimester as a time for self-driven education. And that's what we're doing right now. During these weeks, you are going to be asked a lot of questions, faced with a lot of choices, and offered or encouraged to take a lot of tests. In order to be sure your voice is staying central to your journey, you are going to want to really educate yourself. There are so many resources available to help you do that. You may feel you have to read and listen to everything, which can be overwhelming. But remember that you get to choose what most empowers you in your decision making. You may feel you would rather go with the flow, free from expectations, unattached to any particular pregnancy and birth experience, as long as you and your baby are healthy. Educating and advocating for yourself is a lot to take on while you are also growing a human. I understand that. I also agree with Melissa Brugen and Debbie Colt, authors of How to Heal a Bad Birth. However, that the act of going with the flow contains inherent pitfalls unbeknownst to most women who follow that plan of action. Unfortunately, the question is not, are you going to go with the flow? In our current birthing climate, the real question is, just whose flow are you going with? I like this so much. Yeah. If you're going with the flow, you're accepting anything and everything. It's a trick. It's a trick your body is telling you to just go with the flow, especially because pregnancy is inherently natural. It's a physiological event. It's not a medical event. However, with the medical system, with the societal mindset, with the societal, everything else that is going on, especially the medical system, it's designed to actually not be in favor of you, not be in favor of physiological birth. So if you're going in, even with, if you're going in with just, okay, I'm going in, I don't have to read, I don't have to research, it's gonna happen when it's gonna happen. Like I said earlier, you have to tie your camel. The Prophet ﷺ warned us against just going with the flow. The Prophet ﷺ recommended that even though you believe in Allah, you have taqwa, okay? You have that certainty that Allah is going to make it happen for you the way you want everything else in your life to happen. You still have to do your part. And doing your part means tying your camel. And that's what she's saying here. So even if you feel like, okay, I want to go with the flow, you don't have a specific type of thing that you want, that also shows that if you don't have options, if you feel like you don't have a specific thing that you want for your birth, that means you are not empowered with education. That means you don't know that you have options, okay? So anything else can be thrown at you. Anything else your doctor decides is a yes. And your doctor is not your body. Your doctor is not your baby's body. Your doctor is not your spouse's body. Your doctor is only there as a birth team. It's a birth support person for you. It's a medical support person for you. You can switch doctors anyhow you want as far as one doctor is not suitable for you and for the baby. So even if a doctor is bringing in a lot of options for you and you feel like, oh, this thing is not going for you and you still accepting it, that means go in and read up. Go in and ask questions. Go in and listen up. Come in and let's read this and have a conversation. Okay, have a conversation, reading this and asking questions so you know the options that you have. Okay, so going with the flow is very, very, I would say risky. It's very risky. All right. And then if you're going with the flow, which flow are you going with? And that's the question that has been asked in this book. It says, if you're going with the flow, which flow are you going with? Just whose flow are you going with? Are you going with Allah's flow? Are you going with your doctor's flow? Or are you going with your baby's flow? Because babies come with their own thing. Like I said, they are human beings too. They're purposely coming to this world. Right. Okay. Even though they are entrusted to us by Allah, they also have their own purpose for coming to this world. So you choose right by them. Okay. Going with the flow is a way of acknowledging the unpredictability of birth and a shared desired outcome for both you and your care provider, a healthy mom and baby. Yet too often, healthy mom and baby does not prioritize your emotional and psychological health enough. Yes. A lot of times we hear, oh, once you bring a healthy baby home, once your pregnancy is healthy, that's all you need. That's not true. It's after the fact that you bring a baby home that you realize that no, you need more than a healthy baby. You need more than a healthy baby home. You yourself need to heal. You have wound no matter how you went into birth. No matter what birth you have, you're going to have a big wound to heal. Even if you didn't tear, you had a physiological birth, uninterrupted birth, you still have the placenta wound to heal. You still have that to heal. Your body is going to sore because your bones have stretched. You still have those aches to heal. Right? So all of those things come in play, and it's not only a healthy baby that you bring home. You have to bring a psychologically healthy mama home. You have to bring a mentally stable, mentally healthy mama home. Okay? Yeah, so it has a whole lot to do with it than a healthy baby. So it's tricky. Like I said, don't go with the flow. Make sure you tie your camel. Okay. So going on to continue reading. Yet too often, healthy mom and baby, I'm going to start reading from the paragraph. Going with the flow is a way of acknowledging the unpredictability of birth and a shared desired outcome for both you and your care provider, a healthy mom and baby. Yet too often, healthy mom and baby does not prioritize your emotional, psychological health enough. Going with the flow will take care providers down whatever path leads to a healthy mom and baby, and that's great. But sometimes it comes at the cost of your voice and agency over your body. It should not be physical health prioritized over emotional and psychological health, or the other way around. All the above are important and should be considered. The things you do to strengthen your voice, educating yourself and testing, continuing to put together a supportive birth team, and prioritizing self-care can help ensure that your voice is front and center throughout your journey. I once spoke with a woman who had gotten an immediate risk results on a test that may indicate things like Down syndrome and heart defect, called the no-show test or the NuCal test, the no-show test. Her midwife told her not to worry, downplaying her concerns. Her doctor told her she absolutely had to undergo additional testing and should consider termination. She was terrified. Her friends only made it worse by moralizing about the blessing of having a child with Down syndrome and telling her not to worry. While this is certainly true for some families, her friends were missing the point, and so were her midwife and doctor. They were all telling her what to do instead of offering her information, discussing all the options, and supporting and respecting her decision making. This is why it is important that you advocate for yourself. As testing increases and your care provider begin playing a more prominent role in your birth journey, more variations of normal will surface. When something comes up as it did for this woman, you take a test with an unclear result or a test that requires another test. The most important thing is that you receive the information you need to make the best decision that's right for you without feeling shame or judged. The second trimester is usually considered to include weeks 13 to 14 through weeks 27 to 29. Yeah, that's an estimate. So it can be from the 13 weeks to the 28 weeks, typically, right? So, or the 13 weeks to the 29 weeks. All right. So, the mentioning of making decision, people just dumping their decision on you and thinking that you just have to accept it, is also not acceptable. Sometimes you go to the doctor and you want to make decision. I have made a video that I'll also link it in the description box below. I always have said that, okay? If you're interested, you can pick it up, about how to make decision, especially in the medical system. If you want to make decision, there is an acronym that you can use, and that acronym is BRAIN, okay? So BRAIN is spelled BRAIN, and this is the same thing, but you're using your brain, as in using your brain to think, but this acronym is more than that, right? You're using your brain to think, yes, but also looking at the risk and benefit, inviting Allah in the decision making as well, okay? Inviting Allah in the decision making as well. So the B, that's the brain, the B is benefit. What is the benefit of the decision that has been laid down for you? Okay? What is the benefit? If there is any benefit for you and for the baby, always is you and baby, you and baby. Don't disregard the fact that you are also a newborn mother when you have a baby. Okay? So the benefit to you and the benefit to your baby. The R is the risks. What are the risks for you and the risks for the baby? Okay? Not the current risk. Both the current risk, okay, right now, the concurrent risk and the future risk as well. And then the A is the alternative. Is there alternative to what has been suggested to you? Is there something else that you can do to verify that, or to actually stamp on it and say this decision that I'm making, whether there is risk or there's benefit, is an option that I can choose, not really what has been presented to you. And then the I is intuition. For us Muslims, we would say the intuition, yes, but also istikhara. You have the intuition, your gut feeling is telling you this is right, this is not right, this is wrong, this is not wrong, but also inviting Allah in. Because like I said earlier in the video, in this live, I said pregnancy the childbirth process, fertility and everything is not only physical event, it's also a spiritual event. It's even more spiritual than physical, right? So you have that intuition, you have that gut feeling, but have you consulted with the divine who has made it possible, who is creating, fashioning the baby in your uterus already? Have you consulted with him? Have you let him know? He knows already. But you have to let him know that this is beyond you, Ya Rab. Ya Rab, this is beyond me. Ya Rab, this is going on. I cannot make decision for myself. Please, Ya Allah. I have done what I need to do. I have done what is in my control. So, Ya Rab, I put this, letting go. Like I said earlier too, like letting go and letting Allah, let God, right? So you present to him, okay? You present to him through istikhara. You have that istikhara, you make wudu, you make niyyah, and you make your 2 raka'at, and you tell Allah, you make the dua, right? If this is best for you, Ya Allah, please, I present it to you. If it is not best for you, please, Allah, I present it to you, and provide me, make it easy for me to have, to make the best decision out of it, or make the decision easy for me, decision making easy for me, right? So you have like surrendered, okay? So basically that's it. Is the brain is benefit. Yeah, the end. I forgot the end. The end is now or never. So if that decision or whatever it is that you need to make, the decision making process, and you feel like, oh no, I think I don't want to make that decision right now. I want to wait for a little bit. You have the right to wait. You are entitled to wait and make that decision later. Or you don't make that decision at all. You just choose not to make that decision and choose something else, or not choose something else and go on with your life. In this case, this lady is presented with the fact that she might have a baby with Down syndrome. But everybody is telling her, don't worry about it. It's a blessing. Allah gave you, yes. But again, yes, but again, if she needs more time to make decision about her pregnancy, about what she feels like, the gut feeling, yeah. If she was a Muslim, the time frame of her pregnancy is very important, right? Whether or not she wants to make the decision of keeping the baby, or making the decision of terminating the pregnancy, the time frame is very important, right? So, and then the stage of pregnancy is very important, right? So it's very, very important. Also, as Muslims, we put it into Allah's hands. We grant it to him, even though it belongs to him already. But this is it. I present it to you, Ya Rab. I know that you know better. I know that you have made this to be happening, but there's nothing else that you can do. You've done all you can do. You weighed the benefits, you've weighed the risks, you've weighed the alternatives, you have put in place, you are making use of your intuition, okay? And also you have surrendered in making istikhara. And then you want to just take a little bit of rest and think about it, and just let time pass and see what is going on, right? So, yeah. So basically, that is one of the tools that I also share with a lot of mamas when they are making decisions, and it's very helpful, all right? Not only in medical decision making, in every other thing, even in marriage. Like when you are interested in getting a husband or a wife or something in life that is a big milestone in your life, yeah, you can use this tool. As in, what's the benefit to you? the dunya and the akhirah benefit? What's the risk, the dunya and the akhirah risks? What are the alternative? Is it something else that you can choose other than that part? What is your gut feeling telling you? Is it telling me that this is halal dealings? Is this not? Is there a gray area there? Is there a nuance there? All of that, right? And can I just wait and see if something will happen, something different, and Allah is going to present a beautiful something for me, or I'll just end up not doing that and do something else? You don't know. So this is very great tool, and I'm giving it to you for free. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's move on to the second paragraph of or the second paragraph on this page 22. I once spoke with a woman who had gotten an immediate risk result on a test. Oh, actually, I have passed this. Okay. The second trimester is actually considered to include weeks 13 to 14 through 27 to 29. During this time, you may experience visible, tangible changes to your body, from swelling to heartburn to a growing baby bump, and feeling your baby move more for the first time. The second trimester is often the period in which testing is most prevalent. Many families will find out the sex of their baby during this time. Many families will find out the sex of their baby during this time too, while other families choose to stay team green, that is, not find out the sex until the baby is born. Variations of normal during the second trimester may include what's called round ligament pain, a jabbing sensation in the lower belly or groin areas as the ligament surrounding your womb tightens and stretches, and other sensations or discomfort as your baby grows. Uncomfortable, yes, but also normal part of pregnancy growth. Or you may feel none of these. You may start showing during these weeks, or you may have started showing during the first trimester. Some women feel stretching on the sides of their bellies, others don't. You may feel exhausted, and you also may have bursts of energy and the desire for nesting, which can mean everything from cleaning and organizing to finishing furniture and painting rooms. If you have HG or morning sickness, and I know you may still be going through this, and that the sickness isn't magically end at 12 weeks, I see you and I validate what you are going through. Last week we spoke a little bit about HG. If you don't know what HG is, HG is hyperemesis gravidarum. It's an extreme case of morning sickness. Morning sickness is kind of when you get pregnant in the initial stage, especially in the first trimester, before you enter into the second trimester, before the placenta starts to even form, you start to feel nauseated, and some women start to feel it before the placenta starts to form. Some women start to feel it after the fact that placenta has formed, and you feel very nauseous. You throw up a lot. You don't feel well a lot of the times during the day, and at night it's not only in the morning. It's sometimes throughout the day. Okay, it happens in the day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. So it's manageable, okay? But for HG is really, really, really hard. It's like very intense, all this sickness thing, okay? You don't feel relief at any point in time. It starts to subside and then it jumps back again. you vomit and you throw up a lot. Dehydration is one of the risks of HG. Women who go through it, if you're going through it and vomiting for more than a couple of times, maybe three times a day, please let your provider know, okay? Especially if the vomiting is a whole bunch, it's not just one small little thing. You have the risk of experiencing dehydration, and dehydration can be very it's not, it can be detrimental to your pregnancy. Okay, so if you are going through this, please let your provider know. Do as much as possible, any chance you get to drink something, to take on sips on anything, any fluid, is helpful. Okay, and then I hope that you feel better. Even if it's morning sickness, it's not easy, right? So may Allah make it easy for you and for all the sisters going through that. Okay, so I'm moving on to page 24. Lots of women begin feeling their babies move between weeks 15 and 19. Okay, let me take a sip of water. Bismillah. I just finished speaking about dehydration, and I felt like I really needed some sip of water. Okay. Lots of women begin feeling their babies move between weeks 15 and 19. And variations of normal can range from as early as 13 weeks or not until into the 20th week. It's also possible that you won't feel much at all, and this can be due to the position of your placenta. If it is between you and your baby, which is referred to as an interior placenta, you are less likely to feel movement early or as often. Other things that can affect when you notice baby moving include being on the go with work or chasing a toddler around all day. Many women feel physically and emotionally drained during the second trimester. A lot of physical and hormonal developments are taking place. You may feel a heightened sense of your emotions, noticing increased frustration, anger, sadness, excitement, and more. Maybe you feel overwhelmed or just done at work or with your toddler and partner. It's also a variation of normal if you don't feel especially emotional or uncomfortable at all. Your body, your emotional state, and your hormones are unique to you in this pregnancy. If you are dealing with physical and emotional strain, discomfort, nausea, anxiety, depression, or a needy 4-year-old and or a 10-year-old, a pain trying to cause trouble, a noisy family member, etc., please take care of your physical and mental health. Say no to whatever you can say no to. Get a massage. See a chiropractor. Chiropractic care can really help alleviate aches and pains. Yeah. So last time I was also speaking about you can do all of this self-care, but if you don't invite Allah in, it's kind of, to me, it's kind of a waste of time. Okay. So in as much as you are doing all of those self-care, is good. Chiropractor is a very big birth team, essential big birth team if you can afford it in your pregnancy. Okay. But listening to the Quran is a stress reducing tool for us Muslims. It's free. Now we have a whole lot of ways to listen to the audio, whole lot of ways to engage with the Quran, not only to just sit and recite, okay? And surprisingly, in the second trimester, your baby have started to like do a whole lot of things, to hear a lot of sounds that you make, a lot of the movement that you also make, in as much as you are also feeling the movement and the kicks and everything. Baby is also responding to a lot of the things you do, your emotions that you are having. Last week, one of the sisters was asking me, if you are a very angry person and you are pregnant, is it likely that I said I was going to look up on it, but I got busy throughout the week, so I wasn't able to. Is it likely that your baby will grow up to be, you give birth to an angry child? And I'm like, I don't know. But it could be that a lot of the hormones that you're producing when you are angry, because you're going to be producing a lot of the stress hormones, the cortisol, right? You're going to be producing all of those things that leaches. It increases in the amniotic fluid, right? And baby is experiencing it. So when you are stressed, baby is stressed. So baby is going to get a whole lot of the stress hormones. And it's likely that baby is experiencing stress in the womb as well, right? So doing your best to reduce your stress. Already pregnancy is a stressful event. It's a stressful event physically on your body. It's a stressful event spiritually on our heart and soul. Even Maryam, alayha salam, went through stress when she was pregnant, on top of the societal stress that was hitting her, right? She went through spiritual stress. She went through physical stress, and during her childbirth as well, right? So we as women in our childbearing age, we are not excluded. She is the best woman, one of the best women in Islam and on the surface of earth. But she went through that experience, right? So we are not exempt, okay? So in as much as possible, trying as much as you can to have stress reducing tools and ways to manage stress is very, very important. So your stress hormones doesn't spike up all the time and baby feels like mama is not safe. So baby is not also feeling safe, right? Okay. So in as much as possible, communicating, accepting help when you have help, asking for help when you need help, and then also reducing your load. I was once telling one of the mothers, and then also, one of the things that I always say, even to myself when I had my babies, was the dishes don't eat. The dishes are not humans. My babies are humans. They need attention right and right there, right? But dishes can be in the sink, and only when they need attention is when they start to stink. That's the only time they need attention. So you can keep that and not keep the home is not a human being. It doesn't breathe. It doesn't do nothing. As far as it's minimally clean, it doesn't have to be like spotty clean. That's good enough because you have other priorities, right? But if you take that priority on top of taking care of a human being, a brand new soul on earth, who is going to grow up to be that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful person in front of you, talking and helping and being the coolness of your heart and eyes, subhanAllah, it requires a lot of attention. It requires a lot of de-stressing, right? So it is a practice. It's a practice that we have to start making. It's consciously trying to do that is very important, right? So conscious conception is one of the things that I'm a very big proponent of. I love to educate women, especially when they are trying to be pregnant, about conscious conception, conceiving. Even though you got married, but you have to be very intelligent about your fertility journey, about what is going on in your body, about how you want it to turn out, about how you and your spouse are speaking about and talking about and communicating about it. Okay? And then you get pregnant. Parenting starts from there. You don't wait until baby's here before you start thinking about parenting. Yeah? All of those things. Some of us learned it the hard way. Some of us learned it later on in life. But if you have that information now and you are accessing all of those things, subhanAllah, you are blessed. So utilize all of those information as much as you can. Okay. All right. All right. So if you don't love being pregnant, that's okay. I think sometimes we hear it said from our mothers or co-workers or whoever that the second trimester is the happy trimester. Morning sickness is over, but you haven't reached the uncomfortable big baby phase of late pregnancy. But that's just some people's experience. It's just a variation of normal. Other variations of normal are perinatal depression, anxiety, or psychosis. They are real and they are debilitating. And you are not a failure if you experience them. You are not a failure if you feel sick, uncomfortable, or scared. Let go of whatever story you have about what pregnancy should be and give yourself permission to get the care you need. Yeah. If none of these things, yoga, swimming, massage, sleep, are helping, and you don't feel that you can talk to anyone, that's a big clue that you need to talk to someone. Yes. Especially if you're pregnant. And most especially if you have the baby. Because we are not talking about postpartum right now. So I don't want to mix a lot of the information. But yes, especially for the with the mention of psychosis. Psychosis is the extreme case. It's the extreme case. Some women will give birth and they will start to feel very, very dysregulated mentally. And that dysregulation is not only that they don't like being in that state, they just hate being in that state and they hate the baby. They hate the state, they hate the baby, and they can harm the baby. Okay? That is extreme. At that point, a new mother needs medical attention. It's an emergency. She needs medical attention and she needs to be listened to. Okay? All right. It's not like the baby blues that you feel sad one time and it subsides and then you start to feel okay again. And then the next minute even that, you still need attention. You still need attention. You need to speak to somebody. But for the other one, you hear mama speak ill about her baby or ill about herself, and that she speaks, I feel like I hate my baby. I feel like I don't like to exist anymore. Something, subhanAllah, that needs medical attention. It's not just a talk. It's something that is going on in the brain. And pregnancy and childbirth can cause that. Okay? I talk a lot about nutrition on this page because mainly this channel is about pregnancy, fertility, and postpartum nutrition, right? And nutrition is very, very important. Even though we have a whole lot of tools for mental health, for perinatal period, but nutrition is one of the biggest tool. It's one of the things that when you neglect it, it can cause a lot of dysregulation in your body, in your mental health. So when you are pregnant, paying attention to what you eat, paying attention to hydration, the fat that you eat, not 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 reduce, not being in any diet. Okay, don't start making decision of I want to be a vegan, I want to be a paleo, I want to be a vegetarian if you are not already. Right, you want to eat wholesome and eat everything as in the healthy stuff. If you have to eat the brain, the intestine, the head, the tail, the bones have a whole lot of collagen. Eat those. Don't restrict yourself. Eat those because you need those to be the foundation of your brain. Your brain is changing, right? The gray matter and everything else, right? So nutrition is one of the main things. Even if you can access mental health care and services, don't play around with nutrition. Okay. If none of these things, yoga, swimming, massage, sleep, are helping, you don't feel that, and you don't feel that you can talk to anyone, that's a big clue that you need to talk to someone. Yes. And then also the fact that I mentioned Quran is a shifa. Allah said it in the Quran already. He said it to us. Quran is a shifa, right? So you're looking for healing, you're looking for medicine. Quran is medicine. Listen to it even if you don't feel like it. Listen to it even if you are not connecting with it at the time that you need it most. You are unconsciously connecting, and Allah is going to make it easy for you. All right. So talk to a care provider if the depression, anxiety, or whatever else you are dealing with feels too heavy and isn't lifted with any of these suggestions or other things you try. No amount of prenatal yoga will magically balance your hormones if that's what you need. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to say, I can't do this alone. Because first of all, pregnancy, you are not doing it alone. Before you got pregnant, you didn't get yourself pregnant. Allah could have made just women being pregnant all by themselves. No, He could have made men being pregnant all by themselves. But He knows, bringing forth a baby, bringing forth a human being, He creating that human being in your uterus, and you giving birth to that child. You can't do it alone. So He made it. It's just the fitra. He made it that you too will start that. So no matter what, you are obliged, whether the man likes it or not, whether the woman likes it or not, you both are obliged to be in the life of this child. SubhanAllah. How beautiful, how awesome Allah is. SubhanAllah. He knows. He knows. Okay? So stick to that. Okay. With testing being so common during the second trimester, that means it's also a time when you are likely to have lots of questions and decisions to make. During my first trimester, I began feeling overwhelmed and more than a little frustrated with the number of tests that I was being offered. A good friend said to me, "It's not the tests that are the issue. You don't have to fight every test. It's what you are going to do with the information you are given." 6 kids later, I know my friend was right. The problem with the tests is usually not the tests themselves. It is the fear of what information they will give us, or how a care provider may use the information to shame us or force a decision. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that it is not just what to do with the information you are given, but also how to deal with the stigmas and misconceptions that too often accompany testing and test results. If you are a plus size woman, you may be told you are at high risk for all sorts of things. And if you are and if you are thin, you may be assumed to be healthy and told that you are and told that your physical concerns are all in your head. If you are a woman of color, you may have experienced having your pain or concerns downplayed, with no one ever acknowledging the effect shame and stress can have on the health of you and your baby. This is real. Just recently, there was a doctor. I think her first name is Janelle. I can't remember her full name. Her story really, one of the stories that, subhanAllah. Yeah, she is a medical doctor and also an OBGYN. I don't know the full story though. I'm going to tell you what I know and then leave it to it. Yeah, she's an OBGYN. All her career, life, she has been fighting for women's rights. Okay, women's rights and maternal death. And I think she even have researched, she might have written a research paper about maternal death. Okay, and just recently she lost her life through childbirth, unfortunately, right? She lost her life through childbirth. So all her work that she's been doing, everything else, now she actually is a victim of what she worked hard to prevent for other mothers who have high risk of going through it, right? Apparently she had preeclampsia, right? And then also when she gave birth, there was a little bit of issue. I don't really remember the whole story. I don't want to say any story about somebody that I don't fully know. Yeah, so just like that, right? So a lot of things happen, but being informed and then also being empowered is very important. And knowing for the fact that sometimes doctors can't make decisions for you. Doctors can't downplay what you are feeling and not validate what you are feeling. So know that. And when that is happening, you know that this is a red flag. That's not what you want. And make your decision out of it. Like I gave you the acronym, the tool of making decision. You utilize that. Okay? All right. If you are a woman of color, you may have experienced having your pain or concerns downplayed. And also she was a woman of color, right? And even though she is a medical doctor, but the same thing she was fighting against happened to her. Even though she was empowered with education, she was this, she was that, she was accomplished. She had a career that she was navigating this same issue that the layperson was also trying to navigate, unfortunately, right? So it's very concerning, right? It's very concerning. So here it says, let me continue reading. With no one ever acknowledging the effect shame and stress can have on the health of you and your baby. You have such amazing medical capabilities today. And yet it still needs to be said. Care providers are human beings. Care providers are human beings who are educated and trained by a medical community with its fair share of limitations, especially when it comes to women's health. Sometimes stereotypes, myths, and assumptions drive the care we receive. In light of this reality, how can you make sure you are receiving supportive, how can you make sure you are receiving supportive, individualized care? Supportive, individualized care. Ask yourself this: if my care provider giving me care with shame or without shame? Is my care provider giving me care with shame or without shame? Are the results of testing being delivered to you with a judgmental tone, or is your care provider simply sharing information and your options and supporting you? When a care provider asks you to do a test, is it absolutely always okay for you to ask why? If they want you to test for something based on your weight, then a frank decision needs to happen, or it's time to change providers. If your provider has set limitations on your VBAC plan, and VBAC again is vaginal birth after C-section. That's VBAC, VBAC. Okay, so a lot of times, especially in America here, and I think in Europe, women who have given birth through C-section are told they cannot give birth again through C-section because of their increased risk of going through labor or even trial of labor, right? So if women want to have their baby through the birth canal, it's kind of like, it's a no, right? But women can do that with preparation, right? Okay, so that is VBAC. I have explained this before, I think last week. So if you're looking to have a VBAC, even if a doctor is telling you you cannot have a your baby through the birth canal, look into having a VBAC supportive provider or a VBAC educator, a VBAC doula. They can give you more information, more support, and more guidance on how to go about it. If your provider has set limitations on your VBAC plan, ask for evidence-based reasons. Why are they asking for it? Why are they setting limitations? Are they judging you, or are they concerned? When the testing is being done, are you getting comments from the staff about your weight or your small pelvis? Testing should come from a place of making sure you and the baby are healthy, and with the goal of preparing for the best outcomes for you both, and not from a place of fear. Remember this: part of the best outcomes includes you being treated with respect. Okay. All right, so we're still on chapter 2 because I've been explaining. Even though I said I'm not going to explain, I still explain because I know these are some of the things that come up, and maybe if you are watching the replay, you might have questions that haven't been answered with the words that are some of the technical words that are in this book that I'm reading. So it's good that I am explaining. It's okay. 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 So I'm gonna continue reading, and Okay. Okay. Yes. Let me finish up this and then we're gonna take a pause. It's a whole bunch of reading for today. We have quite some few pages. We are on page 27 and this chapter ends at page 35 and a half. So I think I would just start reading and going on and on and on. If I see that there is anything that I have not explained that is not similar to what I have spoken about earlier, then I will take a pause and explain it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be explaining everything into detail. Okay, because this is meant to be like reading thing, but also explaining a little bit or two. If you have questions, you can ask. Okay, so testing for just I'm on page 26. Testing for gestational diabetes, which is done during the second trimester, is one of those tests largely shrouded in misconceptions and stigma. Although gestational diabetes is caused by diet and not by how much you weigh, many women are judged by their care providers based on their size. As a plus-size post-date VBAC mom, I was frequently told I would have gestational diabetes. I didn't. Not once in all 6 of my full-term pregnancies. We hear story after story in the birth without fear community of doctors and midwives assuming plus-size women will develop gestational diabetes and that their plans to labor in water or without medication are unreasonable unless they lose weight. And we hear just as many stories of thin women shocked that they have been diagnosed with gestational diabetes after being told they were not at risk due to their weight. This is not individualized or even evidence-based care. It is care given with judgment, assumption, and shame. We need to break through the body shaming not only when it comes to gestational diabetes, but also to weight and body size in general throughout pregnancy and birth. I've heard from many women who are told by their care providers after miscarriage that they would have better luck next time if they lost weight. This is body shaming, not true, and not supportive care. I would have been risked out at birthing centers because of my BMI. There is a huge stigma regarding body size in our culture that becomes even more prevalent when a woman is pregnant. And BMI is the tool that they use to measure your ideal weight, okay, based on your height and weight, okay? All right. And BMI stands for body mass index. The stigma was deeply rooted and unfortunately experienced through comments, looks, and the way care is given by care providers and their staff. If only many of them realized that they could make an incredibly powerful shift in the care they give. Until this shift happens, if we cannot find a provider who gets it, we must be our own best advocate for dispelling these myths by expecting and insisting on care without shame. During my 6th pregnancy, I chose to do co-care with a midwife and an OB. On one visit to my OB, the nurse, who I had never met before, called me in and took me right to the scale. I politely said no, and then gestured towards my body in Vanna White fashion and said, "See all this? I'm good with this." She appeared flattered and did her best to convince me I had to be weighed. But I stood my ground. It has taken me a long time to love myself in my body, and there is nothing that number is going to do about my care and my baby's care. If you need to give me an epidural, I will let you know how much I weigh. That's on a need to know basis. Yeah, so like women who are going to have epidural, there's a way they do it. They have to weigh you and know how much blocks they can give you every intermittent time. You need a little bit of that epidural pushed in to your pushed in. Okay, so you need to know your weight. So she is advocating for herself in a way that she knows her numbers and she knows what her pregnancy is and what options she have, right? So that's what I was saying. If you know your options, you know better. If you know better, you do better. So she knowing her options, she knowing that she needs to know her weight because she's on she's a heavy she's on a heavy she's in her heavy body. She's a little heavy. She knows her numbers. She knows what is going to be presented to her, especially because she's pregnant. All the other things that can be done on her to assume that she's not healthy or her baby is not in a healthy mama's body, you know. So she has conquered that all by reading up, by empowering herself, and then making sure that she's advocating for herself. Very, very important. If you don't have anybody to advocate for you, you advocate for yourself. You know how to ask the right questions. You know how to decline those things that will be presented to you that are not in favor of you or your baby. Okay, so we are on 20, the last paragraph, the last 2 paragraphs on page 27. She must have understood my determination because she nervously replied, "I would just write patient refuses on your chart. I'm not going to be weighed for you. There is no reason you need an exact number of how much I weigh today." I told my OB a few moments later in the exam room, and he laughed because he knew me and totally understood. Because you know what? My cervix and my cervix never asked me what my BMI was. So I'm taking out some words because I don't want to use those words on my page. If I use them intermittently is okay, but I'm not going to be using them too much on my page. So just in case you picked up the book and I didn't say those words, doesn't mean that I'm negating what she's saying. It's just that I choose also, I'm also advocating for my channel. I choose also not to use certain words on my channel. All right. Many of us work really hard to feel good about ourselves, and in an instant, a careless comment, an assumption about our weight determining some outcomes, or a number on a scale, And don't get me started on the nonsense that is the BMI. Okay, so the BMI, like I said, is a matrix or a tool that is being used to determine the health of your body, whether you are overweight, underweight, obese, or morbidly obese. Yeah, it's not really a big determining factor of health. It used to be, but now I don't think it is. Okay, not as much. Feels as with shame or doubt because of our size. Whether we are being told our pelvis is too small or our body is too big. And that's how we are being judged, not for our whole selves or for the full spectrum of our health, but for our size. If it can undermine the authority of your inner voice. To that, I put both middle fingers. Okay. Your size is a variation of normal. Your weight doesn't determine your health. Your health determines your health. All right. Empowered decision making, preparing for birth. The second trimester is a good time to start thinking about your birth experience. Who to have with you on your birth team, including your care provider, whether or not to hire a birth doula and a postpartum doula, and where and how you want to birth. You had some appointments and conversations with care providers during your first trimester. And once you reach the second, you would want to start making those interviews more official. As you have your visits and your questions come up, you would have plenty of opportunities to find out if your visions align, and by the end of the second trimester, ideally, you would have it worked out so that you won't make changes during the third trimester. Although that happens, I have done it or even forced to do it more than once. And if it does, it doesn't mean you failed. The system that we have to birth in sometimes fails us. By the time you are ready to hear the baby's heartbeat and start thinking about what kind of birth experience you want, it's time to set up interviews and consultations with care providers. You are looking for someone who works with you. You want their insight. You want their perspective. You will ask for their opinion. You are looking to them for their expertise. They are not the boss of you. You are partners. You are building on your first trimester bubble of support. You are creating a birth team. Yes. So when you're going in to have a doctor, a lot of times we surrender to doctors instead of surrendering to Allah, right? Coming back to the same thing I was saying earlier. We surrender to our birth team, especially the doctors, like they control everything. Meanwhile, what? You could just switch doctors right away. Even one of my teachers was saying that you could switch doctors right when you are even in labor. If you feel like your doctor is not serving you, is not being supportive, fire that doctor. Fire him right at the spot and hire another person who is willing to go with you on the journey. Yeah, if you are determined, exactly, that doesn't happen just like that. That happens with empowerment. That happens with knowing your options. That happens with reading before the time even comes. And God forbid that you have to go through that. But when it happens, you have total right to do that and have a beautiful birth of yourself. Yes, birthing yourself as a new mother and then birthing a new baby, right? Okay. Here is what I mean when I say birth team. You've got yourself, maybe a spouse or a partner or mom or best friend, and maybe even a doula and then you bring in your care provider on that same level. So often we think of ourselves as either subordinates to medical aspect, or when we are trying to flip that script, we think of ourselves as the boss of our care providers, that they are subordinates to us. But all of this is so linear and businesslike. It is emblematic of our modern society to think this way. Birth isn't a business relationship, and it's not a hierarchy. It's partnership, a team. It is a journey in a life transformation. Everyone needs to work together in an open and trusting way. You wouldn't want to put your doctor above you, but you wouldn't want to put them below you either. Same goes with your partner. Just like the bubble of support I talked about in chapter 1, it is not a hierarchical relationship. It is a circle, a feedback loop in which each person weighs in. It is hard. It discusses options together. It's heard. Okay, let me read it again. Okay, it's a circle, a feedback loop in which each person weighs in. Each person weighs in, is heard, and discusses options together. I recently heard from a woman who was experiencing pain in her abdomen. She saw her OB, who told her it was round ligament pain. But after her appointment, she felt that little voice of instinct telling her the pain was something more, something different. So like I said, using your instinct to guide you, and then also submitting to Allah and asking Allah all the time for Allah to be the guide. All right. Oh, okay. So voice of instinct telling her the pain was something more, something different. I had round ligament pain with my first pregnancy, and this didn't feel the same. I didn't want to bother them, she said, but I called in anyways. My OB wasn't there, and the person on call treated me like an idiot. I know they are busy. Unfortunately, it's so easy to silence those little voices of concern inside yourself if you feel unhappy with or unheard by your doctor. You have a legitimate concern about your body or your pregnancy, and yet you feel as if you are bugging your care provider when you call or go in for an appointment. This is not a supportive provider or partnership. If your midwife makes you feel scared about a test result and then ignores you when you share how their comments made you feel, this is not supportive care. On the other hand, if you find yourself constantly arguing with your care provider and questioning everything they say, that's not supportive care for you either. These providers don't belong on your team. They don't belong in your bubble of support. Okay. Make your birth team or bubble whatever it needs to be for you. If you are a single parent, your support person may be your best friend, partner, parents, spouse, a doula, etc. And then maybe overlapping or just faintly touching that bubble, there is everyone else. Be intentional with where you place people. Maybe your parents, your sister, and your kneading group are in another bubble, close by but not on the team of you. Sometimes women at events will ask me when we are going to get better national policies to support women and families from the highest level of government. I don't think these changes happen from the top down, although that would be nice. We need to do this in our own communities. We don't have time to wait for the system to change, and it won't happen all at once. We have to make waves and changes however we can, and now. We need to be like those little old ladies gossiping about who's doing what and how. Building a birth team can be daunting, I know, but you don't have to start from scratch. If you find a birth doula you love, ask them for OB or midwife recommendations. If you find an OB or midwife you love, ask them for a doula recommendations. Ask your closest ICANN, International Caesarean Awareness Network group, even if you are not a VBAC mama. They may, they know who the good providers are. Ask your friends. Make your sources of information not just books and articles, but also other women's stories. There is something very powerful about sharing our experiences and building coalitions and networks or good providers from there You might be interested in inviting a doula into your bubble to help everyone on the team to get through it. Doulas are amazing because they get to know you, your partner, and your family through your pregnancy. They offer support and a wealth of knowledge. Women will often say that they want their partners to support them in labor, or that they don't want to share their birth experiences with a stranger. But who supports the partner? Who is the advocate of them, both when the shift changes in a hospital birth or when plan A isn't quite working? This is where having a doula can be a great comfort. They are there to be a support for everyone, no matter where your journey takes you. Doulas technically can advocate on your behalf to your OB or midwife, but your partner absolutely can. And a doula can help a partner use their voice. In addition to helping partners help laboring mamas, doulas can help laboring women remember all the things they wanted for their birth experience. Yes, so she's saying this because, yes, you can choose what you can choose, but doulas cannot say this that you're choosing, choose if it is not your choice, right? So she's going to be there to remind you, to be that extra support. And then when you go to your doctor, when your provider is, when your partner or your husband is there, your husband can be supportive to you in extra way, or in a different way, right? So doulas are amazing in such way as in giving you all the tools that you can use to support yourself. She's not going to come and speak to your OB that you want a water birth, that you want a home birth, that you want your partner to cut the cord. No, she is going to give you the information, the benefits, the risks, the alternatives of all of those things that you want a VBAC, right? When she gives you that information, she gives you a way of asking those questions to your OB, especially if you have an OB or midwife who is kind of into themselves, right? So it becomes easy, it becomes a birth bubble, right? A team, not as the doctor or the OB is above and you as the mama is the subordinate and everything the provider suggests is what you work with. No, it doesn't work like that. Even Allah didn't give that power to them. Allah didn't give that power to them. Even you as the birthing person, birthing woman, as a birthing mother, Allah hasn't given you the whole power to just make decision for you and not make that right decision for the baby. Because Allah has entrusted the baby in your hands, you and your husband, right? So making a poor decision for your pregnancy and your children and your babies, Allah is going to ask you, right? It's the same thing that comes back to making decision about your care provider as well. All right, so okay, doulas technically can't advocate. I was done with this one. Think of a doula as an outside person with experience and knowledge who will be with you all the time to help you remember all the things you wanted to and to give you emotional support throughout the pregnancy and postpartum. Physical support in the form of hip squeezes, massage, suggesting position changes, and heat and ice packs, and information to help you make the decision for yourself and for your baby. Some women know they want a particular doula, and in order to make sure they get who they want, will hire that a doula or early as 8 weeks, or some before they are even pregnant. But unless you have that level of clarity and specificity, the second trimester is a great time to start interviewing doulas. Just as with anyone or on your birth team, you need to interview doulas to determine whether hiring a doula is right for you, and if so, find one with who you connect and align. I bring a line into it. You connect and align in values as well. Okay? That's why as sisters who are trying to give education and everything, we are also trying to support sisters through the doula and the birth worker system, to be birth workers to doulas. And yeah, because a lot of the times sisters feel comfortable with women, sisters also, who have the same value as them, right? In a way that she's a Muslim and she's looking into having a Muslim doula who knows a lot about Islam, who knows how to support her and protect some of the things that she's trying to protect, is very important. All right. So there is a community called the Muslim Birth Workers. I think it's on Instagram. I'm part of the community as a doula. You can check them out. If you're looking for a doula who is a Muslim, no matter where you are, if you are, I think mostly in New York now, they're bringing a whole lot of sisters in other states as well. So they can connect you with a Muslim sister doula who can give you education. There's also Amani Birth. Amani Birth, I'm trying to certify as an Amani Birth doula and childbirth educator. It's awesome. Amani Birth is also, they have their website. So when you go on Google, you type in Amani Birth, you're going to see what they are sharing. They have a whole lot of birth workers, doulas, and childbirth educators everywhere in the States, and mainly in Saudi, I think, and then also some other part. I'm not very sure, but you can check it out if you're interested. Maybe watching me and asking that question. During interview, you can learn more about what doulas offer in general and the unique philosophy and personality of each doula you talk to. A doula is there to support you and your partner or spouse. So finding someone who fits well on your team is important. I've also shared a video a while back about the importance of having a doula and what the doula brings into your birth. I will link it, inshallah, in the description box below, or you can check my video tabs and go down, 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 down. It's there, I think, 1 year ago or 2 years ago that I shared that video. And just as with care providers, if at any point that relationship becomes a burden or stress on your birth journey, it's okay to fire your doula. Like I said, yes, you can fire a doula at any time. I mean, your birth worker too at any time, your provider at any time. You can fire them, and Allah is going to open up doors for you to get another one. As far as the care is very disrespectful, it's not supportive, and all of that. The second trimester is also a good time to start thinking about where and how you want to birth, a home birth or a scheduled C-section, a hospital birth, or in the woods by a baby deer. Yes, I have actually seen this in a birth photo of a mom laboring outside with her partner in a jacuzzi tub. Okay. Are you interested in a water birth or laboring in the water? Are you interested in squatting to birth your baby out? We We will include lots more information on choosing an OB-GYN in the chapter on hospital births, on midwives in the home birth chapter, and on supportive providers for women hoping to have a vaginal delivery after C-section in chapter 6. But for now, it's a good idea to start thinking about where and how you would like to birth and doing some self-education. If you're interested in midwives and you find a local home birth midwife, you may want to schedule an interview in your home. If you find a birthing center midwives, you would probably do an interview in the birthing center and take a tour of the facility. If you want to birth with a hospital-based certified nurse midwife, that's CMM, a registered nurse who has completed an accredited graduate level nurse midwife program and is certified by the American Midwifery Certification Board or OB practice. Check to see if they host a monthly meet and greet you can attend, or call and ask to schedule consultations to meet and see if the provider aligns with the type of birth you are envisioning. In this case, specify that you are scheduling a consultation and not going in for a checkup. Some practices would charge for those, some won't. It's nice to keep these separate. Don't be afraid to ask for a consult. A doctor does not need to put their hand on you or weigh you just for you to ask them some questions about your case. If you know you are hoping for a VBAC, you will want to specifically ask if the provider is supportive of VBAC. And in the event of a cesarean birth, it is helpful to ask if you are supportive, if they are supportive of family-centered C-section. So family-centered C-section is when everything else is arranged so that mama doesn't feel separate from the childbirth process. She feels included. Your husband also feels included. How do you feel included? That's when things are being put in place so mama can take place in the C-section process, as in seeing what the doctor is doing, engaging with the doctor, engaging especially with her baby, and when something is happening, the doctor communicates with her partner, and all of that. When baby is finally born, they put baby on mama, and baby feels very accomplished that she did it. It's not that she's being handed the baby after the fact. All right. Okay. So since I sometimes wish someone had told me I could make such creative and self-supportive decisions with my earlier pregnancies, I'm here to tell you, you have options. You can ask for just about anything you think will work for you. Maybe it's not possible, but it doesn't hurt to explore. I often hear from women who are under the care of midwives that if they have to transfer to an OB or a hospital, they feel abandoned by their midwives. The benefit of arranging co-care is that you develop relationship with a range of care providers. When I had my cesarean birth with co-care, my midwife visited me in the hospital and did my postpartum follow-up at home. When I thanked my midwife for continuing to care for me, she seemed confused. I transferred care to my OB when I chose a C-section. I explained. My midwife responded, "Well, you are still our client. And it seems to me that if you transfer, you might need us more with recovering, healing, processing, and breastfeeding." So that's a beautiful thing to have. And the midwife is beautiful as well, because all of those things are very important. A lot of times midwives Midwife's care continues into the postpartum period, but OBGYN care stops right away when you have the baby. That's it, right? You only come back to see the OBGYN or the OB-GYN. You only come back to see them after 6 weeks. And 6 weeks visit, when you come, they check you, everything's fine, 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 fine. That's it. You are done with them, right? And unfortunately, postpartum doesn't work like that. You need more than that. In postpartum, you need to process your birth, you need to heal, you need to recover, you need to figure out breastfeeding, even if nursing your baby comes seamless to you, you still will need support. Okay. So I think, wow. All right. So quickly finish. I have 2 more pages to be done. This is the kind of full spectrum care and support we all deserve. Keep core care in mind when you are interviewing care providers. The choices available to you for core care will likely depend on where you live and in the laws of your state, as well as each individual practice. Okay. But you can always be creative. Some practices have co-care built in, a group that include both midwives and OBGYNs. For example, some birthing centers have to be overseen by OBs depending on state regulations. For me, I found a midwife I like, and since they didn't have OBs, they worked with or referred to OBs they worked with or referred to. I found an OB I liked, and I make sure that they were each okay with the fact that I was seeing the other. You would also have to explore payment options with co-care. Can you afford both care providers? Is either or both willing to help you figure out a payment plan that works for you? Can they help you find out if your insurance works in the situation? It may take some extra planning and imaginative thinking. But if it helps you feel empowered and supported, it's worth it. You are worth it. Okay. The second trimester is a bridge, a magical unicorn bridge between the first and the third. As you near your baby's birth day in the third trimester, your baby's birthday in the third trimester. As you near the baby's birthday in the third trimester, you will be focusing your energy on creating and maintaining your space like a fierce mama bear. The more you educate yourself, acknowledge and address your own fears, and listen to your intuition during the first and second trimesters, the more confident you would be not allowing other people's fears into your birth when the time comes. Here's what I do with my own fears. I ask myself, is this something that I'm afraid of because of a birth story I read, or something that happened to a friend or to me in a previous experience? Or is it my instinct telling me that I should look into it more? In other words, is the thought in my head a fear or an instinct, a voice of anxiety or intuition? Anxiety is a liar, but intuition is precisely the voice you want to strengthen and empower. This is very powerful, okay? This is very powerful. Anxiety means you don't it's like you rarely consider Allah in your situation. Even though, yeah, sometimes we all have anxiety, but extremely always having anxiety means you are holding too much control. You are really holding too much control, and it's about time you start letting go of a lot of things to just let Allah in. Yeah, that's what I think. Okay. All right. So anxiety is a liar, but intuition is precisely the voice you want to strengthen and empower. Even if you have not taken anything from this session, this is very powerful. Okay. This is very, very powerful. Anxiety can often be eased with more and better information. If you are scared of something, that just means it's something you need to learn more about. Yes. Okay. You can always educate yourself more and ask more questions. If it's your instincts that are nudging you, do what you need to do. Get a test, talk to your provider, or get a second opinion. And if you just aren't sure, it's okay to always get whatever is bothering you checked on. Remember your bubble of support in the circle of your birth team. This is your team, your support network. And at any point, you should be able to turn to them to help elevate your fears and anxiety. If you are going through anxiety and you have fears, that's what your birth team is there for. Okay. You can also use your instincts to guide you when it comes to revealing your baby's gender, your due dates, and even how far along you are. Keep in mind the importance of creating your space. Sometimes you want to share everything, and sometimes you want to keep things to yourself. Only you can decide how much to reveal and who you want to let in. Once people know your baby's gender, a whole lot of input tends to follow. I remember one woman bemoaning how often people told her a girl steals your beauty. After her gender reveal, I had never heard that one before, and it confused me. Why is there not enough beauty to go around? That's funny. How exactly is that supposed to be helpful? It's the same for due date. Inevitably, someone will comment on how big you are or aren't, give opinions on how you should or shouldn't birth, and offer other unnecessary commentary. I used to tell people who asked how far along I was, somewhere between 20 and 60 weeks. When you start showing, you may also find that people start touching your belly. By people, I mean anyone from close friends and family to strangers at the bus stop or in a line at the store. It can be very strange to suddenly feel you've lost your personal boundaries. You may not find people touching your belly. Yeah, some people do that. Especially, I never knew this happened until I started working in the birth. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, people touching your belly and friends just massaging it, and no, I never knew that happened. Yeah, but yeah, it's something common. And I don't know why people do that, why people allow other people to do that, but yeah, it happens. Okay. You may not mind people touching your belly, or you may feel it's violation of your space and body. Both are variations of normal. In a perfect world, a person would always ask for touching yourself when it comes to maintaining before touching your body. But since we don't live in a perfect world, take care of yourself when it comes to maintaining your space. We tend to feel we owe people, even people we don't know, the truth about the intimate details of our bodies and lives, or that pregnancy somehow gives others access to our bodies. I'm here to tell you, you don't owe anyone anything. Tell people as much or as little as you want to tell them. Say no thanks or protect your belly with your arm from when someone touches you, or put your hand on their belly until they realize how weird they are being. This is your space, your body, your journey. I've been talking a lot about the circular nature of your birth team and your bubble of support. And despite the importance of creating that safety net around you, it's also normal if you have moments of feeling alone in your journey. The changes are happening to your body after all, and at the end of the day, once family and friends go home and your partner is asleep, it can feel as if you are the only one really present to this new life going. I have been there. I understand that feeling. I'm here to encourage you to ask the help you need. This is the heart of good self-care. Sometimes you need to just sit with it and be in a moment. Take a deep breath and acknowledge that you are in the midst of a time of growth and change. And it's okay to feel whatever you are feeling. Everything doesn't have to feel great all the time. It's okay if you are not okay sometimes. Yes, that's so true. That's so important. You are not supposed to feel any certain way. You just feel how you do, and that's variation of normal. Reach out to the people in your bubble or bring in another support person if needed. None of us want to be a burden to others, but sometimes we are just too good at pretending everything is fine. Better to tell a trusted friend what you are going through than to resent them later because they didn't know or understand. You deserve to be heard and held. You deserve to give yourself and to have your team give you the space for whatever comes up. And your feelings are valid and your mental health is worth it. I love reading this last paragraph. It's so wonderful. Yeah, sometimes this is needed. Okay, I'm not going to explain anything. I think I am done with chapter 2. It's been a long life. It's over 2 hours now. Yeah. All right. So I am going to end it here. I don't see any question coming in. Inshallah, when you do watch the replay, let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. And I'm also going to include some links of how to get the book if you are interested in reading by yourself. Okay, and then also some of the things that I mentioned, some of the videos that I have also recommended for you to watch about why you need a doula and other stuff. Okay, so I think that's it. Inshallah, I will see you tomorrow. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, then inshallah it's going to be on Monday. I will try to be on live or come on live, or at least have be on live throughout the week. So engage, please, and share it to others who are experiencing this or are pregnant and would love some empowerment of education, some more detailed explanations, and relatable information about pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. Inshallah, I'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe, stay warm, or stay cold. Stay warm if you are in this area of winter. If not, in the warm season, stay cold. And remember to hydrate. All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That was over 2 hours. So
Yeah, I've been sitting for 2 hours. That's so.
Oh, you have. Mommy, did you feel comfortable or uncomfortable?